right, we have an interesting one here. I'll get into this in a second, but let's start with the IMDb plot. A man finds himself trapped in a desert canyon with a woman living off the grid who is captive to a pack of sadistic boys. Okay, interesting stuff there. Uh, kind of a little bit of a strange movie. Again, I've used strange, uh, you know, so you know kind of where that goes if you follow my reviews. But I'm not gonna overdo it here. Um, New film, just recently released, so I typically tell you guys I'm going to be spoiler free at this point and not hide anything. But this one I'm going to go a different route. Every once in a while I pick a movie that I'm going to kind of ruin for you guys, or at least go all the way in explaining things. And I kind of want to touch on the end of this movie. So in order for me to do that, I'm probably going to have to give away with what is happening here. So if you guys want to hang around for a little while, I'll keep it spoiler free to a point. And then when I get to what I want to talk about, I'll give you another spoiler alert. So if you're just going to put it on pause or fast forward to find out how many pools of blood I give this or not, or whatever. But I will be spoiling this movie, or I will be telling you kind of where it ends, which is going to kind of spoil it for you. Although, you know, if you kind of watch it, you might guess kind of where this is going. But, you know, I kind of feel the need to talk about the end of this movie. And I felt the need to talk about some other movies, but I let it go. But this one, I just want to. So I am. So, you know, that's where we are. So, you know, I apologize in advance and so forth. And hopefully, you know, you'll get this warning, and I won't ruin it for you. For you, if you want to be surprised or you don't want to know what's going on here. So, anyway, yeah, you know, it's kind of what it says there. You see a guy. He's out. He's taking pictures. He's kind of enjoying this canyon, kind of in this mountains and caves and so forth. And he comes across this young boy. And the young boy says, hey, you know, I've lost my parents. So, of course, he does whatever anybody else is going to do. And, you know, be like, hey, you know, well, let me help you try to find your parents. And he kind of wants them to go to one direction. But then the kid, you know, is like, no, they're over here in this direction. So, you know, in order to help the kid, he basically has to follow the kid because the kid isn't really going to go in the direction that he wants to go. From right there, you know that is a bad sign. The fact that you can't get the kid to go back to where you want him to go, if you're in this situation, yeah, just don't go following some random kid that you see out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, you want to help them or whatever, but if they're insisting on going another direction, you know, beware. Just watch out. So yeah, in turn he does. In turn he gets lost, and in turn he ends up in the bottom of this kind of canyon, kind of all surrounded by mountain. In the middle of the bottom it's a decent space, and randomly there's a house there because there's always a house in the middle of this thing. It's very weird, but there's a house there, and even more weird is there's a young woman there. And even more weird is that she seems happy and contented to live there. Now, you know, I know the world is a crazy place and so forth, and you may want to live off the grid, and you may don't want to deal with social media and all this other craziness of the world. So maybe it sounds like a good idea, but maybe not. Maybe, you know, maybe not living down here in the middle of nowhere with no one around might not be a good idea. And then you have some crazy young boys who basically controlling whether you can actually get out of this place or not. Yeah, it's kind of a strange kind of setting and situation set up here. But, you know, the guy ends up down there, and like I said, he can't get up. You know, there's these boys of a mixed age, you know, very young to maybe a little bit older, and maybe even, you know, a young, I don't know, the oldest one, he could have been 17, 18, or could have been even maybe another year or two to that. It was kind of hard to tell exactly. But for the majority, they're young, and obviously not all there, a little bit crazy. But basically there's a ladder, and that's the only way that you're getting up or down here. You can try to climb, but that's just not really going to work. So it's a ladder, and basically, they're going to put down the ladder if they want you to come up or not. And basically, they don't want him to come out of here. So he's down there and obviously freaking out as you would. He's trying to convince the boys who will come and go. They're not like hanging out at the edge of this cliff here forever. They're gonna come and go, and when they're there, he's gonna try to convince them and be like, "Hey, get me out of here." And they're gonna kind of mess with him to start. They're gonna be like, kind of give him hope that they're gonna pull him out, but then they don't really, and they kind of mess with him in that way. And like I said, there's this woman there, and when when he's first down there, she kind of helps him out, but then is kind of distant with him. And obviously, as he continues to insist on trying to get out of there, she's just kind of going about her regular time and day and what she's doing there, while he's, going crazy trying to find a way out. Until it comes a point where, he kind of gives in and is like, okay, these guys aren't getting me out. This woman has no interest in getting out. I am here, and that's just the way it is going to be. So, as he's kind of doing this and trying to figure the best route to go, he befriends the woman a little bit more and more as they're there. Obviously, there's a strange element to her. Obviously, it's got to be strange if, like I said, she's having a good old time living down here for whatever reason. Obviously, the boys, there's something wrong with them. They say, I think it was described as sadistic boys. Yeah, there's something kind of cult-like about them or whatever. And there's going to give you an element or two of here that they're into something, that there's something else going on here. So they're going to kind of give you that as well. So, that's the basics of the summary of it is him kind of getting stuck down there with this woman. Now I'm going to kind of switch gears and kind of go towards that spoiler element. So if you don't want to be spoiled, this might be a good time to maybe pause, stop, and maybe fast forward more towards the end if you want to hear my pools of blood on this. But the movie's kind of called The Seeding, and as you kind of see this kind of playing out, you kind of put that in your mind. Eventually, the man and the woman are going to do what a man and a woman are going to do in this situation at this time. So they're going to have that moment, and they're going to make it clear that they have that moment. And eventually, she ends up pregnant. So that's kind of where you get the seeding that comes from. Like I said, they kind of bond a little bit. I'm not going to say they ever fall in love, but like I said, he almost accepts the situation. And, everything then kind of turns, and it's kind of, all good, or at least between the two of them, and even, the craziness of the boys. But then there's going to be an event, I know I've jumped into spoiler territory here, but I'll at least leave that. There's an event that kind of turns things. It kind of turns the woman against him. And basically to the point where he ends up in a cage for a long time until she basically gives birth. She's going to give birth. He's going to be released from the cage in order to help her give birth. And then, you're going to kind of think that things... And then there's going to be that element of cult, that element of, Satan worshiper or something weird, cult-like weird evilness that's going on here, that's in the background there is also going to be there. But the basics of it that I want to get to and so forth is, and here's the big spoiler. So if you're just kind of hanging around, here's the big spoiler of it. 3, 2, 1, give you a second. She's going to give birth. And then afterwards, where you kind of hit that moment in almost what you're expecting, and it's kind of your expectation of horror here is okay, she's given birth and whatever, and the ladder is down and the boys are there, and you're thinking, okay, this is the moment he's fulfilled what probably is what he's there to do, is to impregnate her and have another child. and they're going to let him go. He's going to go up this ladder or whatever. And there's a moment where he has the child, and he almost has a chance to kind of go up the ladder with the child and escape, and that's it. But in turn, he doesn't, and he kind of gives the child back to the girl. And at that point, the boys kill him, and that's the big spoiler of it. And they kill him, and he's dead. And she's kind of a little bit sorry, but between her and the boys, you kind of know that you kind of get the gist that they brought him there and down there for that moment to happen. Even though she played it off and was just kind of like waited for the time where it was going to happen. She knew, I guess, it was going to happen. It wasn't like he got down there and she started flirting with him off the bat and it was like whatever. She let him do his thing, and then eventually it came a point where he turned to her, and then it happened. And he kind of fulfilled that happening, and now that the baby has happened, he is no longer useful. Or they didn't want to keep him there to have yet another child or whatever. Or you don't know, at that point whether he would have ever slept with her again. Because at this point, he's basically gone crazy. He has been in a cage for a long time, and so forth. So, who knows if they would have ever even have gotten to that point again. So, I'm 50-50 on this ending. Because in a way, okay, you've killed him. Maybe the audience didn't expect that. I always like to applaud when you might go in a different direction than the audience didn't see happening. Obviously, once she became pregnant and knowing the name of the title, I was kind of like, okay, well, that's his purpose of being here. That's where this movie is going. Did I expect him to die? Maybe not. How was he going to escape? I had high doubts on that, so I don't know my expectations for him. I don't know where I thought he was going to do or how he's going to get out. Obviously, when they dropped that ladder and he had the baby in his hands, I thought, okay, well, it's now or never. Like, if he's ever going to escape this, it's now. Obviously, the movie's been going on for a while now. This has to be it. And then they just die, kill him, and he's dead. And then they just kind of show you the boys, show you the craziness, show you the woman. And then here's where I'm 50-50 about it on the other side is then the movie just kind of ends and the movie stops there and it's over. And when it does that, like, again, I'm very 50-50 when this movie ends because I'm like, okay, I just credit you for killing him off. Maybe that's not what you expected. But now that he's dead and whatever and served his point, whatever, it's like, then I say, well, what is the point of the overall movie? Like, what did I just watch? Like, what is, like, you know that they're crazy, they're cult-like, whatever, and so forth. But now what have I watched? You killed him off. He's dead. I can, like I said, I can applaud that. I'm fine with that. But then at the end of the day, you don't fast forward. You don't show us, you don't take us back and really show us anything about this woman. You don't show us much about these boys. The two of them, they do talk a little bit in the movie, but there's not, you do get filled in a little bit about the boys and so forth, but nothing to, the extreme. So I'm like, what is the point of what I just watched? Like, what is the overall, like, I feel like there's still so much missing that you didn't fill in. And I don't know. So I'm very, when the movie happened, there's a very, very just like, I don't know, like I said, 50-50, I guess is the base, I keep saying it, but it's just where I am when that movie ends, because I liked what they did and tried to do something different with the ending there, and, not every horror movie has to end with an explanation, and I know I've said this, in some of the other reviews, and maybe more of the written reviews that I've done, in past movies than any stuff more recent, but to me, I'm okay with certain movies leaving some vagueness, and you don't have to fill in every blank and so forth. But there's a certain level of blankness I want filled in, and I don't feel that I was filled in enough here. Like, I don't think I've filled in enough of what the hell this woman, how she really got down there. Did she give birth to all these kids? What, or was one, or was the first kid the, maybe older, and maybe the father of the other kid. Like, what is really happening here that started this situation, and what, the story with these kids, the story with this woman. Like, I don't feel and all, and if I missed it, I missed it. So you guys can, if you guys saw this and are still watching at this point, and and I missed it, please fill me in. Fill me in if I missed it in one of their conversations, or I missed it somewhere along the line. Sometimes when I do these things and I talk about these movies, I realize that there are things that I could have missed, and maybe sound like a fool for missing them and talking about it. So if I did, and feel free to fill me in. Put it in the comment section, hit me up on social media, let me know that, hey, you missed it. They said it here. This is what's going on. Besides knowing that there, might be a cult-like and a little bit crazy, whatever, I missed the overall bigness or big point here of this woman and these kids, and why they're here in this canyon, and why, besides, being evil, and besides, maybe worshiping some demon or whatever, that they needed another child. They give you that kind of thing going on here, but I don't know. I wanted more. I needed more. I needed another piece of the puzzle here in order to be truly satisfied. Kind of when it ended, I was kind of like, again, what the hell did I just watch? What was, besides watching this guy get tortured over time and watching this woman get pregnant and give birth, what the hell did I just watch? Like, I don't know. Like, I just needed a little bit more of an explanation. And I feel that maybe if I had gotten another piece of the puzzle, or just enough more information, then I would have said, hey, this is a pretty good horror movie here, because it ends in the way I like, and they give you this and whatever. But because I'm so in the dark about what the hell is truly happening here, I don't think I can fully give it a as big of a good review as I maybe want to, if that makes any sense. But if you did see this movie, and you've kind of followed through and followed through my spoiler and everything here, I'm kind of interested to know, how you guys felt about the end of this movie, and how you guys felt once this movie ended. Like, he's dead, and what? Like, what happens now? Like, what was, how did you feel about watching the whole movie, and then this is what happens? Again, I credit them. You fully expect in the usual horror movie that this guy's going to make it out. He's going to make some dramatic thing. He's probably going to kill most of the boys. Like, if you're writing this out and you're thinking about what is going to happen at the end of this movie, as this movie's going, oh, they're going to drop the ladder down, or someone's going to rescue him, or they're going to drop the ladder down, he's going to climb out, and he's going to take his revenge out on all of these boys. Maybe leave one behind, but majority he's going to kill them all and escape, and, then the movie's kind of wrapped up on a little bit of a bow. And instead, it doesn't end that way. And I'm fine with that. That part, I'm fine. I give them credit for doing that, and kind of taking it out of the box there, and not doing the usual, he's the survivor, he has to escape, he has to live. You have, the audience has a bunch of, there are points where we're probably annoyed by him, but then you have some sympathy for him because of the situation he's been put in. Now he has a baby, which, from this woman that he doesn't know, and blah, blah, and all he wanted to do was escape, and he's been in a cage and gone crazy. So if he escapes at this point, you're like, yes, good for him, and so forth. And then he's just dead. And you're like, well, okay. So, if you're rooting for him and you're cheering for him this entire time, and then he's dead, that cheering part is over. Like, you've cheered, and it's like your team, is winning, or they're making the comeback. They've fallen behind, and they're making that comeback, and you're getting all excited. And you're like, oh, we're gonna score that one touchdown, and we're gonna hit a 3-pointer here, and we're gonna win the game, and it's gonna be good. And they brick the shot, or there's an interception, and the game is over, and you've lost, and you're just like, oh, damn. And that's kind of the feeling here. But then, you kind of look back at the game. He's like, well, what the hell did I just watch? Was it a good game, or was it not a good game? So it's kind of that feeling. Like, did I really enjoy this whole movie, or because I don't know what what is truly happening with these people? Am I at a loss here? So um, with that, it brings me to why, I kind of wanted to talk about the movie, kind of why I wanted to spoil the movie. Well, I didn't want to spoil it, but I had to spoil it because you really had to give away that ending to kind of make my point here, and why I have to give it 2.5 pools of blood, because I really don't know which direction to go with it. I want to credit it for some things, but I can't, because it didn't give me everything that I wanted or I needed. And again, I understand not every horror movie has to fill in every blank. It doesn't have to give me her entire story. It doesn't have to give me the boy's entire story. But I don't know. I feel like I wanted just a little bit more, and if I had gotten a little bit more, I probably would have given it more than 2.5 pools of blood, because I probably would have felt that, hey, I watched this and I at least got this much, out of it, and I'm okay with it, and I'm okay with him dying at the end. It's fantastic that they did something different, and blood and guts at the end, so I'm fine with that, and I can do more with the rating, but I can't. Like, I feel like I've missed it. So yes, I got all that out. So again, if I missed something and you saw it or you know the explanation and I don't, feel free to clue me in, and then I can put in the comment section that I've changed my score of it, because now I know. But otherwise, as I'm sitting here doing this, I didn't get enough information out of the woman and those boys to know what the hell's going on here, besides them just being nuts. As creative you are in switching the ending and doing something a little bit unexpected, I needed that a little bit more from the woman and from the kids. So again, 2.5 pools of blood out of 5, down the middle of this one, just because, because of everything I just said, basically. So, horrorsquarereviews.blogspot.com is where you can find all my reviews, written and video. Definitely, if you're interested just in the video reviews, subscribe, like, do everything that everybody wants to do on YouTube. But if not, no worries. It is truly okay. I understand what happens when you follow too many people and so forth. But if you spent any time here on the channel, even hopefully it's not the first one you've watched and you're just ruining movies. I don't typically like to get into spoiler territory. So, if this is the first one you've watched, I don't typically, get into spoiler territory. So, I'm sorry if I've spoiled it in any way for you. But hopefully you enjoyed my rant here and craziness. Anyway, Twitter, Facebook information here as well down below. Feel free to reach out to me there, talk about horror, talk about things I missed in this movie, hate me for spoiling this movie for you, and in the comment section as well, hate me for spoiling the movie. I can take it. I didn't want to do so, but as you can see, I was a little animated about it and what is going on here in this movie. And probably if I wasn't as animated about the end and wanted to discuss that ending, I probably wouldn't have done this review, honestly. I was really back and forth on it, and because I just kind of wanted to get that out there about this movie, maybe my frustrations for watching this movie and not really knowing what's going on here. I obviously let out a little frustration there, so with that. So feel free to comment on any of that in the comment section as well. So again, 2.5 pools of blood out of 5 for the seating, and we'll catch you on the next review, horror fans.